depth level. Anyway, I'm gonna get out here and try to fish a little bit. See what we can do. I'll give you kind of a report on this thing here. Still dealing with this floodwater situation. The water is just, the current is just ridiculous out here. They're trying to prevent flooding upriver, and in doing so, they are running a lot of water through. I think it's running all three gates, and then the floodgate is open too on the south end. Anyway, water is receding and it's muddy and it's flowing. You can't get much worse conditions. Who knows where the fish are at? The water was been high for 3 or 4 days. Kind of had a gauge on it when it's high. I mean, fish traditionally try to push as shallow as they can, and you know, when the water starts receding, they start moving out. I think it's DNA wired in them. They spawn that way. Anyway, we're gonna try to see what we can do. Possibility of a tournament coming up this weekend. I haven't decided yet if we'll fish or not. Marty, my brother, normal partner, is fishing with Eric Hubbard, so I may go at it by myself. Or I may not go at it at all. You know, it's still seasonal pattern supersedes everything, as we've talked about on here before. I mean, it's still springtime pattern. Fish are trying to push up, get ready to spawn. And that being said, I mean, it's a matter of finding them in these potential spawning areas. Air temperature today is at about 52. Water temperature right now at about 62. So, that's kind of the deal. Now, traditionally, when these conditions are, when the water level conditions happen, you run into, like I said, fish are going to push to the next depth level. Look at there. Good lesson learned right there. Fish hooked on the trailer hook. I don't ever go out there without one. You got a big old shad down in his throat. I hope you can see that or not in there, but see the tail of that shad in there. Throwing a spinnerbait around the laydowns in a pocket. He just fried right up against that cover. Good fish. All right, that was refreshing there. Just throwing a. I mean, you can't get any more standard procedure than what I'm throwing here. Throwing a, that's a 3/8 ounce spinnerbait. I changed out that skirt, put that white skirt, but it's a Colorado blade and a Indiana blade kicker. It's a seasonal bait, you know, especially with this mud, or this water. Throwing it around these pocket laydowns on here. fish. Wound up on my hand scales, weighed just over 3.5. So fish is feeding. I don't know if you can see her or not. When I look, I'm trying to edit this thing and see if you can see that. It looks like a crappie tail down in there. He's definitely in there feeding. Fishing, that was just, you couldn't have scripted it any better. Man, that fish right there 3 days ago was one of those that was pushed up on the bank, I would guess. But he had moved out to that lay down. He was out about midway down it, which was the next available cover for him. That's just a lesson learned there on that trailer hook. The lesson that I had to learn the hard way. But he had nothing but the trailer hook. Y'all saw that. He had no hook on the bait hook. And especially trailer hook these conditions. That had to basically be a lateral line bite. You know, days like today can be just a total waste and a washout, or you can just mop them up sometimes. Because fish are limited as to where they can be out here anyway on this river. All this current and all that. Remains to be seen what today will be for us. That was in the mouth of this pocket. And that fish had obviously not spawned out yet. It was a big, healthy, good-looking fish. Actually came out here to fish a rock pile. Fish my way around to it. And again, one more of those kind of deals, and I can tell you what the pattern is. Talked to a preacher friend of mine this morning, pastor of a church there in rural Alabama church. We were talking about the things going on in the world. Yeah, it's talking about having seen times like this ever in our lifetime. He's a shade younger than I am. Oh, excuse me, the pollen count here is awful. I'll probably be doing that all day. They always pollen in this boat. I apologize for that. My boat stays in the lift. Anyway, we were talking about things and just about life in general. You know, all we can do is all we can do, and I encourage everybody to do that. Challenge you all to get involved. I mean, I think we have sat idly by as Christians. Kind of got run over here of late. So, you know, get out and get involved. Get involved in your church and in your community. You know, just get involved and be heard, because what's happening is a lot of your people that what I would consider radical, they're actively involved and engaged. Get out and get your point across. You know, and again, it's not a religious YouTube channel, but I'm a Christian, and I'm not ashamed or embarrassed by that. How I believe. You know, this is in between Palm Sunday and Easter Sunday. Big time time of the year for Christians. It's the time of the year that all of our belief and faith is based on, actually. Anyway, kind of my life lesson so far for the day. Around that rock wall. Wind picked up. About on moving bait here, crankbait, trout. All these fish get pulled out here. About this, it's a spinnerbait rod I'm throwing, that Hackensack spinnerbait rod made by Lou. So, you know, I don't fish anything that basically don't come from Academy. It's a common rod, but this sure is a good rod. Interesting to see how that fish fought on it. Go back and watch it on video. Another thing about this rod here is it's a spinnerbait rod. It'll do other things too, but I use it for spinnerbaits with it. It's 610. Be surprised how much difference it's been. Just a little bit shorter makes in accuracy. It's just easy to handle and you know, cast and manipulate in close quarters, just a little spot cast, a little roll cast, things like that. Have to be able to do fishing how I like to fish. You know. A 7-foot rod is not a whole lot of difference from 610. This worked out about perfect. I do fish some shorter rods. I have a chatterbait rod that I like to use. It's 6'6". Get it out. Make sure it's going good. This is not the 610 chatterbait rod I was referring to a while ago. This is a 7-footer, kind of a jig rod to me. Got two different chatterbaits tied on with throw a regular jig and jig. It's a good rod. Good versatile rod. Got a good tip on it. Try the best I can with this. I think this, I always try when I'm flipping to start out as light as I can. Still fish, but I think this is going to be too light. I have to switch over to my other jig. If there's something around that, you know, I'm convinced they're going to be held tight to the whatever cover they're around. There's no need in working it much. I mean, just get it where you want it. Just kind of shake the jig. Big bright bluebird sky. Anything holding around this dog, it's going to be in the dog, it's going under the dog. Shaking and slacking. You see me working the jig a lot, but I'm not really working that much. Ordinarily, if I was, working a dot pattern, I'd come into this thing and I'd work just the corner with this jig, and then we'd have a spinning rod with me. I was going in with spinning rod and working middle there. And again, I'd just be playing the odds. Odds are that fish are on the corners of these things. You got the high percentage here. This front corner. I would throw in there enough to keep them honest. Maybe they're up under there. As a general rule, if I was tournament fishing, I'd just be playing the high percentage here.